Let's try this again. 21 questions with Jojo part 2. Not too sure what was going on with the internet, but we're back again in your ears again. Thursday, 9 p.m. Let me go over to Jojo now. Thank you lot for your patience. So I go. Zara, how you doing? Jerry, welcome. Thank you for your patience, guys, and for coming back. I don't know what's going on tonight with the internet. I still go. Yo.
Alright, we pray. They're trying to block us. When they trying to, are they bad? They're trying to block us.
They can't
stop
it.
Just yeah, man. Hopefully, God's grace, this one gets through, fam. But yeah.
So you said like death not respect nobody.
Yeah. Death don't respect no one. And I realize when death comes to knock on a man's door, you can't be the one. You can't say no, not today, death. And when death knocks on a man's door, that's it. And I said, raw, it's only God that can say no. And God is only obligated to look after you if you're one of his. There is God's grace. I realize there's God's grace from the whole world. If there wasn't God's grace, everyone would be dead. You feel me? But then I clocked, God's only obligated to look after you if you're one of his. It's like if I have my children and then one of my, you get me? One of my sons has decided to betray me, leave the household. He's speaking of blaspheming against my name as a father, speaking on me and doing this and doing that. And he comes and he vandalizes my home. I'm not obligated to look after him. He's still my child. I can choose to. That's God's grace. But I'm not obligated to. He's disowned me. He said, I don't want nothing to do with you. I don't. And that's the majority of the world. But I clocked. I was like, the only reason why a lot of people, all of us are living is the grace of God. And the only one that can say no to death is God. So when I see people acting like, yeah, I have my life all put together, I'm going to do this. And like my brethren, we would have probably linked a girl that day, would have probably went here that day, would have done this that day. God knows. And he didn't get to do that day. And he didn't know what was going to happen that night. And that night was the night he had to give up his ghost. And yeah, so that's what flipped my whole mindset of life. I was like, how the hell you can have your bulletproof vest, stab-proof vest, your knife in one hand and your burner in your pouch, and have all the money in the world, have the best of jobs. You can even forget the roads. You can live comfortably and be the nicest person, do all the good deeds in the world. And when death comes to knock on your door, you still have to give up your goals. So I'm like, the only one, why would I then disregard God if he's the only one that can say no to death? Why would I put God on the sidelines? Like if he's the one, you get me? So that was my mindset. And at the time I was 17. So 17-year-old to be thinking like that is a good thing because, yeah.
But then the way that your mind had been conditioned before was we respond, we react, we don't take none of that. How come, this is someone who is your closest, this is your right hand, and the streets demand, the roads demand you respond in a certain way. Why didn't you? How come this thinking came in?
Bad boy question, yeah.
And not that.
Remember at the time I got baptized. Okay. So this was a transitioning point already. I was already transitioning over. I was already questioning life. I was already thinking about life and saying to myself, what is the point? Like, am I here for a purpose? Like, man, are actually, no, not even that. Man are actually dying. I don't want to die. Like that's the rule. Like, I'm not gonna fake it. You get it? I don't want to die. And I've seen man on the roads. The success rate of the roads is not very great. I know even to this day, man that are making more than 100 grand, 200, 500k, 300k not even in a trap. They're not even hands on no more. Man that are making a lot of money, but they will sit down and tell me that this drug dealing thing is a cycle and they're tired of it. So for me, I looked at it as my cousins are in jail for murder. 2 of them. I've got other cousins that have been in jail for armed robberies and robberies. So I'm like, the roads literally is either you go to jail, you either end up in a mad spiral in the circle of the continuous, and that will drive anyone crazy. You lose your mind or you end up 6 foot in the ground. And I was like, out of those options, which one do I want to choose? None of them. So logically, like, bro, I'm not gonna lie. Logically, if anyone wants to succeed in life, you'll look at life with in a logical lens and say, logically, that actually don't make sense. Because if we look at statistics and look at the rate of how many men have died and how many men have gone jail, how many men are doing life, how many men have lost their minds, the man that was the king of Brixton or the king of Peckham has now lost his mind. I'm like, bro, then you would make a decision that, bro, this road thing is dead, fam. No matter how much work you put in, how much blood you shed, how much bodies you got, how much man you shanked, like, bro, it's not even worth it, bro. Not even trying to be the baddest, trying to be that guy that everyone looks up to, and yeah, like, oh yeah, that, bro, it's never worth it because it'll all creep back up on you somewhere or another.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, man, that was literally my thought process, and that's where obviously I had to make a decision for myself.
Yeah. Have you ever felt survivor's guilt? So
survivor's guilt. That's a good one.
So you making it out, you surviving it all.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a very good question. Yeah, kind of.
Wow.
Kind of. I'd say for my cousin, my little cousin, because he saw everything I was doing. I kind of brought him into things, and then I left.
Wow.
Yeah, not that I just left, but I was able to fix myself. While he was now deep in it, I had now left the roads. So I felt guilty. He even said it to me one time. He's like, the reason why I'm like this is because of you. So I felt the guilt that, you get me? And it's not even like it can end up that way. It can end up detrimental. Like, he was living a certain lifestyle and doing certain things, and he ended up going to prison. He's out now. He's been able to change his life around. But the most I could do is every time I saw him, when I had come off, is that I would speak to him. I was a preacher. The roads became my pulpit, and I would preach anywhere I go. I'm speaking to man, telling man, bro, I'll pray for you. I'll do this for you. Like, literally. And that was maybe because of my guilt. I felt an obligation that I need to do. I did it with all of my brothers, all of them. There's not one that I left out. Even those who like said, F all that Jesus stuff. Like, I'm still, you get it. So I don't know if it's guilt, but a sense of obligation to help. You get me? Because I've now seen life from this angle. So I want you lot to see this life from this angle.
Exactly.
I want you lot to come along as well. And you get me? So we sow the seeds and hope for the harvest and pray for the harvest, in fact. So, yeah.
About your cousins, you said, this is God's plan and this is God's hand. My cousin's doing life, like, damn, that was not planned.
And that was not planned.
What is it like to have family in jail? M's for years, for murder for years.
Yeah. Frustrating. It's frustrating because that's your family, and like I said, cousins, you're close. Like, it's that sort of hub, you're close knit to your cousins, so it's very frustrating. It is, what's the word? Obviously, you don't see them for years. You see them in pictures. You hear their voice on the phone. You see them when you go to visit them. But it's, yeah, the most I can say is frustrating. It is frustrating. From young, it's so weird because when you're young and then you're on the M's and everyone was saying, oh, your cousin's in jail for an M. You're young. Remember, I'm young. I'm 13 at this point. Your cousin's in jail for an M. Like, what? Your cousin, older youths are saying to me, what? Your cousin's in jail for an M. Man, that they were beefing are saying to me, oh, to me. So in my head, how I'm registering all of this as a 13-year-old is, this is a stripe. This is something you take on your chest. Like, yeah, it was mine. You get, like, it's crazy. But yeah, what, they went jail for a murder. Like, yeah. And that's when you're growing up. I'm 13 years old, 14. And that's how I processed it in my mind. As you get older, it's frustrating. Right? You're in jail, like, you went jail at the age of 15, 16, you're in your 30s now. You get me? And when you come out, life has changed. You get me? You didn't get to see all the things I saw. You went jail when you were 15, 16, you're in your 30s. You missed out all of that. So that for me is frustrating. Not just frustration I don't get to see them as frequently, but the frustration that that's my blood and my family and they're locked up and it's gonna have an effect on them. You feel me? So that's, I would say, the most part of it, to be fair.
What is it from their perspective when you speak to them? How did they see those 15 or 16 years? How did they view it? Did they view it with?
Yeah, definitely.
Reflective
They've matured. They've grown up. You have to. You can't not, like, 15 years. Not even 15 years. It's been 17 years basically. Like, it's dragged. You get me? But you grow up. If you don't grow up over that space of time, like, I feel like you go into survival because you have to. You have no choice but to grow up and to mature. So when I speak to them on the phone, there's, as time goes on, there's maturity. There's, when I come out, I'm gonna do this. When I come out, I'm gonna do that. It may be hard, but you get me. You got family around you. You got your people around you to help you. So yeah, that's their sort of mindset because you have no choice. Your survival is literally 17 years in jail. When I've spoken to them, that when you come out, you have to grow up. You have to mature because life ain't slowed down out here. You feel me? So yeah, man. Yeah.
Yes, man. Your faith, you know, you talk about faith a lot in your music, faith of God and Christ, and I'm blessed to have met you. And then, you know, we had that men's fellowship, and I remember specifically
Power.
hearing your music. And one thing I would always ask myself is, where does this come from? Like there's a certain presence that you bring on a track. And I always remember thinking, where does this come from? And I remember coming to the fellowship a couple of times. I would see Tom Mucci there. I would see Michael Dapper, you know, Loco. And when I would see us all together and we'd all pray, I said to myself, that's where it comes from.
Yeah, that's where it comes from. That's what we're charging up.
That's the charge up.
Yeah.
That's the source.
That's the charge up.
Where it comes from. So
that's
when you know, people like Stormzy, and when everyone has taken their different trajectories and in such an amazing way, I can see the power of prayer. And we would gather and it helped me so much because I would come all the way from like North London, but finish work and be like, no, I've got to go there because it would charge me up.
Yeah, it's a life changing.
So I always ask you that for you. Tell me about the power of prayer in your life and what it kind of means to you.
Yeah, I've come to understand that God doesn't do anything until someone prays. And people will be like, oh, but God is God. God can do anything. He can. But God is literally like a gentleman and he'll only come where he's invited. And prayer is literally an invitation that you write to God and say, God, take control. So when I was going through things mentally, emotionally, physically, things to do with the roads, people I had problems with that I didn't know how to deal with myself in regards to making peace with the situation. When, as human beings, when things are looking like I can't control it, then don't try and control it. Just give it to God. And the power of prayer for me has shown me that the moment you then begin to release your faith in prayer, say, God, I don't have the answers. I don't know what to do, but this is my invitation to you to take control of my situation. Each and every time he will arrive on the scene. It's prayer that invites God on the scene. And for me, like it's an issue. It's an issue because globally, the more the world says, the globe and the world, countries and leaders of countries say, we don't need God, let's push God out the picture, the more God will stay out the picture. Because God has given us earth. He's given earth to man. He said to Adam and Eve, I give you dominion over the earth. I give you, it's yours. It's yours. You take control. He gave it to us as a gift. We gave it over to the devil. He tricked us in the Garden of Eden. We gave it over to him. So God had to think, God is a sovereign God. So once God speaks and once he gives a gift, it is without repentance. So he's given it to us. And then we've given it over to the devil. And God's not going to take the gift back from us. So God's like, how am I going to find a way to engage with my people and give them authority and power on the earth directly as they've given over their authority? So how can we do this? And we know he sent Jesus. And Jesus then bridged the gap between God and us. And once he bridged the gap between God and us, we can come now in the name of Jesus and pray. So Father, in the name of Jesus, I need you to stand and move over my situation. And with me, prayer what the power of prayer did, it broke chains. I could even talk about generational curses. It broke chains in my family, chains over my life, addictions to sexual addictions, pornography. We can even go there. Violent addictions, mindsets that I used to have in my head that were nearly turning me crazy. Things in my family, things that my great-great-grandparents have dabbled in and practiced in my family, things that my grandparents have practiced that were still affecting me and putting me at a disadvantage today. The power of prayer broke those chains. And if it wasn't for prayer, people like my pastor would have us in a room, yeah? And these are moments in my life where God knows it was needed. She'll have us in a room and all the men will just be holding hands and we'll all be praying hours on end. You've come to some of the services, we'll all be praying hours on end, breaking chains. She'll give us a prayer point, we'll be praying and praying. And you may not see the change straight away, but the moment we was consistent in prayer, we started to see things change. Because people will come to me, they'll be like, oh, if you knew me before and you know me now, people used to ask me, how did you change, bro? Like, what did you do? And I would say it's the power of prayer. Because prayer literally gives God the invitation into the situation. So when you do not pray, you give other people, you give the devil, you give your own, even your own ideas, and you get it. So that for me is the power of prayer. Prayer changes everything. Literally. It's like a vehicle that carries God's original plan and intent into your life. So that's what I found, man. 100. Come on, bro.
I don't want to keep you for any longer. I'll ask you, how would you like to be remembered? You said that death is no respecter of anybody, and my time's going to come, your time is going to come.
Definitely.
What do you want people to, at the back, on the back bench, at your funeral, at the church, what do you want someone to be thinking like, oh man, Josh or Joshua?
Yeah.
Joshua. This is what I want to be. What do you want them to be thinking?
I'll answer in kind of two ways, or three maybe. So you know that on the tomb, the gravestone, yeah, that's a tomb.
That's it.
Man of a powerhouse, died with riches and glory. Died a man full of love, loving, a man full of love, peace, joy, all these things on there. But on top of that, I want people to know me as a world changer. And it doesn't mean I've gone and I've changed the whole globe and I've infected the whole globe. That's not even impossible, to be fair. But people that I've come in contact with, whether it is a small conglomerate of people or is it in the masses, I've been able to infect their lives with something that will change their lives. So a world changer, literally. Whether it's a one-on-one conversation, whether it's on this INSTALIVE, whether I go to Morley's around the corner, wherever you get me, whoever I meet and I talk to, I want them to be able to say, or whether I'm on the stage in the O2 very soon in front of 20,000 people, I want them to be able to say that this Joey, he changed my life in some way, shape or form. So yeah, bro, that's literally it.
Someone asked here, Juliet, what is your future plans and goals?
Future plans and goals. That's a good one. I've got many future plans and goals. I want to get married. I want to get married. That's one of them. I want to set up. No, in fact, I want to perform globally. So I do want to go on tour. And however long it's going to take to build, I'm in it because this is my passion and my dream. Yeah. It could happen overnight one day. But I definitely want to go on tour. I want to perform all around the world. I want to perform in the O2 in front of the 30,000. And there's a reason why I want to do that, but I'm not going to disclose that now. That's a part of it. I want kids as well. You get me? I want some kids. You get me? I want to build. You get me? What's the point? Now, my thing is, you can't be a man and be on this earth and not leave your legacy, and your legacy is your kids. So I do want kids as well.
When are we getting an
album? How many?
No, when are we getting an album?
When are we getting an album? Definitely not. Definitely not now.
Ah,
The reason why, yeah, I know. The reason why I'm saying not now is because I feel like I'll know the time. I'll know when the time's ready. The time's right. I feel like not necessarily the buzz, but I feel like there's a certain point that I want to get to before I say I'm gonna go and work on an album, and I want the world to hear this. When I say, like albums come out here and there, the album or the body of work or whatever you want to call it is literally gonna be an embodiment put into music form of my life.
wow.
So, and that's gonna take time. And right now, in the place that I'm at and where I'm in, I'm just working on, you get me, just building my fan base, building all of these things. So definitely not now, but soon by the grace of God,
You
literally.
know, I love your. You remember when we was in Brixton Station?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
played me live. Was it? Was it live?
Was it Life and Death? It
Live
was
and
a
Death.
Life and Death. Was it Life and Death?
The
No, there was a no. Oh,
SBTV, the SBTV, the first one you did.
yeah, Life and Death. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was like 2017.
Yes, and I remember
Yeah,
standing out there listening, and I was thinking, there's few people that encourage me to write. There's few people that when I
yeah.
listen to, I'm like, oh,
Love, bro.
right.
Yeah.
What is it like for you when you're penning all this stuff, like the like the heart, the pain, the heart, all of it? When you're putting that emotional stuff into the music,
Mhm.
what is it like for you when you listen back to it? Especially those type of freestyle, and the one that you just did recently as well. Guys,
Yeah.
go check it out, guys. Warm up freestyle.
Warm up session, SBTV, Jojo. But yeah, what
Because
does it do?
sorry to cut you, because when you deliver it, you deliver it with such like passion and emotion. Like, I
Come
feel
on.
what you're talking about. So
Yeah.
what is it like to write it but then hear it back?
Yeah. It's weird, Sometimes when you write certain things, it's almost like therapy.
Mm.
I don't even know how to. It is almost like therapy because you're writing down. Like I always say music's weird for me because there are things that I say in music that in a general conversation with someone we would not be talking about. Yeah, like a general day-to-day conversation. There's things that I've said in my raps and in my lyrics that I wrote that I would not have said to someone in a general conversation. So when I'm writing certain times, like I've written stuff down before, and emotion that happened that I felt when I was in that situation, I feel that emotion. And so the intent, the zeal, and the conviction behind when I'm writing is literally what I felt in that situation.
Mm.
So when I'm spitting it now, that same conviction isn't coming from here, but it's coming from here.
Wow.
So that's where, and it's not even that I feel the emotion is in a negative way, because it could be something negative I'm writing about. Because I've been able to be at peace with those situations. But when I'm writing, it's like a flicker of emotion that's like, raw. And you have to tap into that when you're writing. So yeah, that's the sort of feeling that it brings. Definitely.
And do
Definitely.
do you always do one take?
No. Whoever said they always do one take is capping. No, 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 no. That's a lie. I've done one take before. I've done one take before, but majority of the time it is not a one take. Like you should know it. You know, bro. So, bro, sometimes I'm spitting, yeah. Jamal's looking at me like, bro, but you know the bars though. And I'm going over it. He's like, but bro, like we're on our 10th take. I'm not even lying. He's like, but you know the bars, like yeah, bro. Come on, man.
How
But,
how did
yeah.
how did you and Jamal Edwards connect?
How did we connect? 2016, I was doing little freestyles. I wasn't taking music seriously, I wouldn't say. But I was doing little freestyles here and there. Jamal Edwards caught one of them on Twitter. I was active on Twitter them times. When he caught it on Twitter, he was no, I prayed on it. I saw him. He commented on the video. He retweeted, and I prayed on it. Went to sleep. Next morning, woke up, and I saw Jamal Edwards posted up. He said JoJo warm up session 2016. And then from there, we just communicated. He DM'd me, I DM'd back. We started talking, got his number, and then boom. So yeah, that was the link up, literally.
And has
It was
that
very
been
organic.
something? Has that been something that's been continuous all the way through? Just been
Yeah, 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 literally. Obviously, he's gone through his own ups and downs and stuff. So get me. And SBTV is one of the founding UK music platforms. So yeah, he's got his own. Yeah, yeah. It's been that. It's been that literally.
You haven't sent me this beat.
I'm gonna send it. Every time you ask me, I'm gonna send it tonight. I'm gonna send it directly to you. But it's there. It's on. What's it called? In fact, I'm not gonna send it on YouTube. I'll go through my beats list and I'll forward it to you. Definitely.
Well, your last question for today, bro, is: do you have a question for me?
Do I have a question? Ooh, I do. I
Easy,
do have a question for you, bro. Um what made you start doing sit down? What was your inspiration? What made you think this is what I want to do? Where did it come from? That's a lot of questions, but the main one is what made you do this?
What made? Do you know what? I think I said this before to someone that I was talking to a lot of people, like artists that people know, and I was talking to them, and they were going through a lot of things. But on Insta, it looked like they were having the time of their life.
Yeah,
Everything was going amazing. And I thought, like, how do we get to hear that? How do we get to unpack that? Because otherwise, we're going to assume that that is your life. You don't go through ups and downs. You don't go through struggles. So I thought, what if I could create a platform that people could feel they could come and be themselves and share the ups and the downs, so that anybody that comes can see the people that they look up to are actually right beside them. They've gone through the same things. They've experienced the same things. They've fought the same things. None of us are actually really on any pedestal when you get down to
the nitty gritty of it. 100.
And the
Instagram's a lie.
Come on. And the nitty gritty of everything is our stories. Everybody has a story. Just even like we said with Jamal Edwards, everybody has a story, but it's just having a platform and a space where you feel safe enough to share a story. And I remember Melvillous came to one, and we were talking, and he said one statement that I just never forget. And he said that if you want to come and find out the core of a person, if you want to discover the core of a person that you admire or you look up to, come to the sit down. And that for me, again, it just confirmed, okay, that's what we're here to do. Give people a platform to tell their stories, but in a safe way, somewhere where they can feel safe. So, that's about it, man. So, you know, and you were like the first one. A-Star set the...
Set the tone.
He set the tone.
Yeah.
You know,
and that was big. That was big. I pray that there'll be many, many more on bigger stages, bigger platforms.
Amen.
This is big, bro. It's needed, to be fair. It almost feels like, I'll be real, it almost feels like a therapy session, even though I've never had no therapy session. But it could, like, literally, because you don't really talk about, like, I don't talk about my life to no one, really. You get me? Unless people ask, so I'm in deep conversation with people. But this, literally, I pray that this goes far because, bro, it's needed. Trust me, it's needed. It's needed, man.
Well, thank you, Joey.
No, thank you, bro.
Or Joseph, or...
You know, that's so funny. How did you not? I need to stop assuming. I assume everybody knows what my real name is, and they don't. And
you need to put Joshua, Joey. That's your name.
Joey.
Oh, bro,
people ask me like, bro, that was it. Like, people, and then I even meet people that call me, because majority of people call me Joey or Joe.
Yeah.
And people used to always call me Jojo. Oh. And sometimes I meet people for the first time and they're like, oh, Jojo. And I'm like, oh, so they must know me as Jojo. No one knows me as Josh.
Well, bro, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me, man. Come on, man.
Big up everyone, man.
Love, bro. Love, my guy. Bless.
Big up to everyone that's joined us for 21 questions with Joey, or Joshua, whatever you want to call him. Please, in the comment section, I want you to write down right now how you found the live. I know there's a few hiccups here and there with the technicals, but I saw it go. But make sure you check out part 1 and part 2 on our IGTV. Let me know in the comment section how you found it. We have season 1. We've got season 2 for you to check out. And I want to big up some people who are here today. Big up Juliet, as always. Big up I'm 45. Yes, 45. You can check out the replay. We've got part 1 and part 2. We got I am King Servant in the building. Ski Cably, I hope I said it right. Big up Ali, big up Tia, Remzi, Asha, Miss Coco, Shan, big up Cassie in the building. Cam, 5-star Monkey, big up Kirsty, Lucian, Jay, Matthew, Sophie, who else we got? Baby Shells, that is a name. But yes, guys, we're going to be back here next Thursday, 9 p.m. Like I said, if you have never been a part of this 21 Questions platform, we're here every Thursday, 9 p.m. This is held by the Sit Down UK, and the Sit Down UK is just a Q&A platform. We get guests on and we unpack their stories. And now that the lockdown is easing, we're going to be going back to our events as well. So if you want to come to one of our events, this in live version, click the link in our bio and become part of our mailing list. Once it hits 200 people, we're closing it. Okay, we're on 147 now, actually. So once we hit 200, no more people can join. So please do that. Click on the link, become part of our mailing list, and share this. If you're watching this back, thank you for watching. Guys, it's been real. It's been trill. Just sit down. Real lives, real conversation. I'm your host, Icy. I gotta go to bed. I'm tired. Bye. Oh, I have to end it.